Okay. Hey folks, it's that time of the month again, and I have another two visionary legends with me today. Quality assurance lead Kim Morrison and QA tester Mark Maraglino. God, sorry man, I butchered that. Say g'day guys.
Hi everyone.
Yes.
Right, so yeah, sorry Mark, that was horrible man. My Aussie accent, I tend to butcher anything that looks slightly complicated. I'm gonna mess it up, but no disrespect. Okay, so let's jump straight in. We got separate questions here. First one have been separated for Mark and for Kim. So for Mark, when you find a bug in Pantheon, how do you view severity of an issue versus priority of features when it comes to testing Pantheon builds? And how does your input let the devs know what to focus on? It's a great question too, by the way.
Sure. So obviously we have the game breaking, the exploitable, and then we also deal with anything that's in the current scope. So we get our scope for what the team has been working on, and we typically focus on that. But yeah, if anything game breaking or super exploitable shows up, we get on top of that as well. Then for priority of features, usually ends up revealing a lot of the issues that we go through. So it's like a deep scan rather than a targeted hunt.
Yeah, cool, man. Good stuff. All right, for Kim, how do you determine what needs to be in the test plan of a build, and what kind of factors are there in determining pass-fail in Pantheon?
Yeah, sure. First, I hope everyone is healthy and doing well tonight, and I'm excited to be here. So this is a pretty simple question. Test plans, it has a lot to do with the scope of work that we're dealing with at the time. So I'll be working with, the producers to find out what's going to be handed over soon, and I'll build my test plans out that way. We have, we kind of have a set schedule of things that we do. We do a lot of gameplay, and then we have very strict testing nights. And so building out those test plans is basically just based on what's coming through the pipeline. As far as pass and fail, so pass and fail is going to have to do with a bug. So if we find a bug and we're able to determine that it's not working as intended, that's definitely going to be a fail. But then there's also the feedback aspect, because not only are we going in there looking for bugs, we're also going in and seeing, is the game fun? That's not really a pass or fail, but it's definitely something we would pass on to the team. So
yeah, awesome, good stuff. We've got a couple more questions on that too down the track about testing, team involvement, and all that kind of stuff, which I think actually the next question leads into that. So I will stick with you, Kim. How are you assuring the quality of this game through such limited numbers of internal testers?
Well, I mean, we're a tight-knit group of developers. We work well together. So it's a lot about planning and trying to do things very efficiently. I've been testing for this game for quite a while, so I kind of know what to expect and can test accordingly. Now, we're never going to be able to hit every single thing, maybe before a PA session. That's where we kind of rely on you all a little bit to hit, some of the stuff. But we test a lot. What can I say? We're testing a little bit, and it is what it is. We just make the plan, test the plan.
Yeah, you guys are in there tons. I'm always in the Skype in weird hours being in Australia, and I see you guys looking for groups and chatting up and joining up and spamming the dev channel with bugs that you found and descriptions, and it's amazing to see. I see you guys are working extremely hard, which is fantastic. I don't think people quite understand the amount of work you guys do too, so very underrated, which is why I wanted to get you on again and put you under the spotlight for a little bit. Okay, so moving on to the next one. this kind of leads on to the same question. Are you capable of fielding full groups on a reliable and consistent basis?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We group up weekly for testing. We test, technical stuff as a group, and we test more like feedback type stuff as a group. We might go through and go through Hellner Cave and just see how it feels at a certain level with certain gear, and just kind of do some emergent gameplay where we're just trying different things and not using GM tools. But then, we're very capable of testing things on our own as well with GM tools and a lot of things that we have that help us out. Whereas it might be a little bit more difficult for a PA tester to do some of that.
Yeah, feel it right on. So do we engage in iterative testing of mechanics, approaching something from as many different directions to see the results? So basically, you're hitting everything from as many angles as possible, different, combat, different group makeups, different abilities, all that kind of stuff. And if so, how often?
Yeah, constantly. We are constantly thinking outside the box. I have to approach every game system, every quest, everything from the mindset of, 80 different gamers. So I try to really put myself in the shoes of other people. As far as iterative testing, a good example might be the recent evaluation zone that we had. If you went through and did some of those quests, you might notice that they could branch off different ways. So I can't tell you how many times I went through those quests just trying to break stuff, going to different NPCs, maybe going and finding an item way before I was supposed to, or anything I could possibly think of, and doing them on all the different classes. So yeah, absolutely. Mark might have a little to add to this too, because he and I, while we approach things in a similar light, he sometimes will think about things that I don't, and vice versa.
I was about to switch to Mark after you. Yeah, the last two questions were kind of a bit of a one-person answer. Sorry, Mark, but from your point of view, mate, how do you go about approaching things from different angles to get the best results?
I think our team has a lot of good diversity in our perspectives. So we all have a slightly different gameplay style, and it really caters to hitting every aspect that we really need to test. So I'm just really happy with our current team, and just that diversity. It's great.
Yeah, awesome, man. And a lot of smart people. A lot of our team are passionate gamers from all different genres as well. So you've got everyone that may just think of something slightly different or see something from a different angle and bring it up in chat, whether in game or in Skype. And kind of everyone's open to things like that, which is fantastic.
Yeah, there's definitely sometimes, hey Mark, come over here. I've got an idea. Let's do this.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You need that too. All right, so moving on. Do we use a formal methodology when performing QA, or do we just play organically and rely on intuition?
I think I've touched upon this a little bit already, but it's a lot of both. So sorry about the cat in the background.
Yeah, it's all good. They were asking whether it was cat or baby, but no, I knew it would be one of many cats.
he does this every time I get on a call. Everyone, meet Nikki. Nikki, meet everyone. So we definitely have some formal methods in the form of, maybe our, smoke tests and our test plans. But, one of the things we like to do pretty often is we will start a static group where we all will get together once a week and we will play like we are just playing the game. We don't use any GM tools. We police each other to make sure no one's using GM tools. So if we die, we run back. So we do a lot of that. You'd be surprised how many bugs you'll find just doing that sort of thing. So yeah, it's
nice.
definitely a mix of both.
Yeah, good stuff. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, just a big variety of it. Sometimes we have something super focused that we need to nail down, and then other times we go the organic route and just see what's out there and see what we can figure out, see what we can break, all that fun stuff.
Good start. Look, this question isn't in there, but I'm going to ask it because I've done a lot of QA myself. Do you get bored of doing the same thing over and over again? Tough question.
After about the maybe 200th time I had done the same quest, yeah.
It's tough. I know. And I know you guys are passionate. I see how hard you're working, but it plays on you. It's repetitive. So, when something little pops up, I used to get excited thinking, oh, fantastic, this is something new. Even if it's a bug, it broke the monotony of over and over again. And it was actually something that I'd then focus on probably more so than I would if I just did it once or twice. So it actually kind of helped, I think, for my mind anyway.
Right.
All right, so let's move on. We got, when we discover issues during play sessions, so we as in the PA testers, what is the preferred type and level of information that you would like to see to be able to identify and recreate the problems? In short, what can we do to make your jobs easier? So I think what are they? They're looking for what you would like to see in the feedback or in the bug reports.
Sure, I think I'll give my opinion and then I'll let Mark give his. So what we are looking for is a step-by-step instructions on how to reproduce the bug. So that would be the ideal bug report, because if you've discovered a bug and then you take it a step further and you decide, okay, well, can I reproduce this bug, and what do I have to do to reproduce it, and can I reproduce it in multiple ways? That's kind of one of the things that we do. So when we receive a bug from someone in a PA session, we touch every single bug and we do the same thing. We go through, and if you provided step-by-step instructions, we'll go through them, and then we might even try to break it further. So really, as much detail as you can give is great. And another thing I want to point out is when you submit a bug, our system captures some data. It captures what your location is in coordinates, and it also captures who your target is. So if you could keep that in mind when you're submitting bugs, that it's helpful. Like if you're falling through the world, if you can go back to that place and then submit the bug, then we'll know exactly where it is that hole in the world is. So just try to be as detailed as possible.
Yeah, good stuff. Do you have anything to add to that, Mark?
Yeah, it's all about reproducing the issue. So that's one of our main focuses as QA, is to figure out how to reproduce those bugs so that we can explain them to the developers, and then they can figure out why that broke and how to fix it. So categorizing, reproduction steps, as Kim said, and then if you can't do reproduction steps, just sort of explain like what's going on or what you think might be happening behind the scenes. Your explanation of, the perceived effect of what's happening. And then, as Kim said, submitting the ticket from where the bug occurred is huge. That helps a lot. Screenshots also help if you can, let us see what's going on. That's a huge help.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Good information. Okay, so this is a multiple question post. So let's go with number 1. How frequently do you communicate with the rest of the team when you're testing stuff?
Yeah, we're in constant communication with at least creative and programming. And that kind of goes back to that iterative testing, especially if we are getting close to some kind of internal milestone. We might be, I might be testing, going back to that example of the quest. So I might be going through a quest, and then also talking, maybe even in voice chat with David Beach and saying, hey, this is happening, and he might be fixing in real time, and then we push the data out, and then I do the test, I go through and do the quest again. So sometimes we're very iterative like that, where we're actually live testing together, and then other times it's just, kind of communicating stuff that we find, and giving everyone a heads up that we're submitting a ticket. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time because obviously they know when they have a ticket, but so yeah, very often.
Yeah, good stuff. Also, we might switch to Mark for this one. What's the process like when you do end up finding something wrong or broken?
Sure. So going back to the beginning, game breaking or exploitable, we communicate that immediately. In addition to submitting a ticket with reproduction steps, all that stuff, but we let them know immediately that something's really wrong, so it can be addressed. And then if it's something minor, similar to you guys, we just submit a ticket with reproduction steps and send it through, and they get to it when they get to it.
Yeah, perfect, man. We might stick with you for this. It's asking both of you, but what was your favorite or most memorable bug that you've encountered when testing Pantheon? Is there anyone that kind of stands out that was funny or still has left a mark on you in your memory?
I always get a kick out of like any of the weird animations or poses or graphic glitches that happen to show up and just make you think like, what the heck is going on and how did that happen to that poor person? So those are always fun.
Yeah, nice. And Kim, what about you?
I guess I can talk about some old ones that I've mentioned before on these roundtables, but maybe people weren't around for that. One of my absolute favorite ones was grouping up in BRK, and we were fighting hair. So there was a glitch where once we would attack the mobs and they would engage us, everything would disappear except for their hair. So the communication was kind of like, okay, I'm mezzing the blonde hair, and let's attack, the black hair.
Nice.
So I mean, testing goes on even when there's bugs like that. So, and then we've had some interesting bug reports. Not calling anyone out, but one I kind of got a smile out of was someone reported a bug recently that just said sticky people. So we did, like, as promised. I said we go and look at every ticket. We looked at the location to see if we could find any sticky people. I didn't see any, so we kind of moved on from that. But if that was you, we are interested in knowing more about that bug.
So speak up. Ben Dean's in here too. He just said we should ask any questions for Nikki the cat. I'm sure she's seen you play Pantheon enough that she probably does have a couple of questions herself or a few answers to give. Definitely very vocal on the matter. Alright, so how often are you guys involved with pre-alpha tests? So let's start with Kim.
Yeah, so I'm usually there for the pre-alpha tests in some capacity. Sometimes I group up with people with my GM name, and sometimes I just kind of go incognito and just go in there to have fun. But yeah, I'm always involved in some capacity, and of course, I'm heavily involved leading up to and certainly afterwards.
Yeah, good stuff. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, the PA sessions are honestly some of my most enjoyable times in Pantheon. I love just seeing what people are doing, see if they're trying anything different that we haven't thought of, or just checking it out, seeing people enjoy the game. Nothing beats that.
Yeah, that's it, man. 100%. All right, so I Oh, one for me. Have I ever been a QA tester for a game? No, not in official capacity. I've done a lot of pre-alphas, alphas, and closed kind of testing for games and stuff, but yeah, nothing official. I'm not as good as Kim and Mark. I just love finding stuff and just that if something sticks out, I just got that kind of curiosity. I want to know why it's wrong. How did I do it? And I try to recreate it, and I'll spend hours trying to do it until I get frustrated and then just leave it. But if I don't get paid for it, so it's all good. If it was in Pantheon, I'd pass it on to these guys and then try to help them work it out. But not officially. Okay, so this person would like to know who QA tested the difficulty of the infernal chicken in the starting area. In all seriousness, I hope the plan is to continue having randomly placed mobs around the Pantheon world that provide that level of difficulty and fun. Can you toss out any beans regarding this? So, was it the tyrannical chicken they're talking about? Infernal chicken. I don't know. I remember the tyrannical ones down in the little fenced-off area were nuts in very, very early PA sessions. But yeah, what can you guys talk about that? We'll start with Mark.
Well, some stuff gets to be fun little beans for you guys that the developers slip in there just before a PA, stuff like that. So not everything like that gets tested, but yeah, I think that was one of them that slipped in right before.
Yeah, nice. Can you think of any others, Kim, other than like the infernal or tyrannical chickens?
I think that sort of thing is just best left for them to find on their own because they're more impactful that way. But I did have a conversation with Joppa about that, and he says it's definitely something we like and we should see more of.
Yeah, I agree. And just the reactions of the testers when they come across something like that on the server live is, and then the forums afterward is funny. It's good to see everyone having a good laugh with it. I think going back to that, I remember, it was flying bats that were carrying swords and axes? Was that one of the bugs?
Yeah, so you could, yeah. I think the best one is when they had torches on their heads.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, so, moving on to the next question. This person is saying, in all seriousness and without being flippant at all, my question to both of you is, what exactly do you do in detail to help make this game better? So let's start with Kim.
Wow, that's a huge question, really.
Yeah.
It's almost like asking someone what their job description is.
Break it down as best as you can. It is a huge one, and you're probably going to forget a lot of stuff that you do, and we'll just go with the big points.
So, I've mentioned before, we are a small team, so I wouldn't say we are the first person to test everything, but we're definitely testing every single, every single system that comes in, every single zone, every single class, every single ability. So, it's our job to test the game, whether that be from a technical standpoint, looking for bugs, or also giving valuable feedback. Something, going back to that iterative process that was asked about earlier, I might be talking to one of the designers or one of the programmers, and they have a vision of what they're either programming or designing, and it's kind of important for us to know that intent so we can give that level of feedback. So it's not just about finding bugs, it's also getting in and seeing if the intent comes off the way it should.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Mark? Do you have anything to add to that, mate?
To take it a little more literally, like some of the main aspects that we do are the PA ticket investigating and assigning. We do our own focus testing, both group and solo. We do the organic testing in addition to the focus, whatever's in scope, and then just natural playthroughs. Obviously, any new content, classes, items, NPCs, crafting, harvesting, everything and anything. Kim mentioned we do, some stuff with balance, and obviously build verification when we send stuff out or get ready for an event, all that stuff. I think that's most of the big topics, and then there's a bunch of sub stuff in each of that.
Yeah, awesome, man. And there is many more things to add to the list of things that you guys do that are extremely helpful. It's a huge job. I don't think people quite understand the enormity of it, but you guys do it fantastically, so thank you. A second part to their question was, and they went on to generally say that they don't actually know what QA really does, so they were genuinely asking. Another question to really hammer in the differences between what a pre-alpha tester is and what a QA tester is, and do they share similar goals? Do you want to add to that at all, Kim?
Yeah, sure. So, from a QA tester's perspective, one of the things to consider is we have that insider information. So we might actually know something as deep as a formula for a particular ability. If it were a formula, I'm not saying we have formulas. I'm just saying we know more about the inner workings of abilities and systems and how things are calculated and such. And so we have to get very, very technical in that regard. So, we're definitely dealing with very, very fine-tuned specifics. Whereas, that's not something someone in the community is going to be privy to. So they're just looking at, does this seem to match up with what the tool tip says, and does it feel right, sort of thing. So we get pretty, we go down rabbit holes.
Yeah, nice. Do you have anything to add to that, Mark?
I would just say that it's really helpful to have you guys as PA testers, because it helps us set our compass specifically for how things feel or work or difficulty and all of that sort of stuff. So we use you guys to let us know, are we similar to what the community is experiencing? Are we way different? And if we're way different, what's going on that's causing that difference of opinion between us and them? So it's really great to work in conjunction with all of you guys and with our internal testing team to, really go through everything and make sure that it feels good to both us and to all of you.
That's a really good way to put it too, mate. Working in unison together to catch things that others don't and different perspectives is spot on. All right, so got a couple of questions here. So we'll stick with Mark for this one. As a pre-alpha tester, what should we be focusing on?
So I think Japa usually does, especially lately, a good job of just the focus or the scope for that particular session. So it's constantly changing, and if I told you something today, it would be different by the next test session. So yeah, it's just really taking the time to read through and understand just the scope of what we're looking for in that testing phase. And that's going to be the most valuable information for us, is just all that stuff in there. So obviously, if you find something that's game breaking or exploitable, that's always super helpful. But yeah, just sticking to the scope and understanding the scope is a huge help to getting the game where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's it. Chopper does a good job of putting those scope posts out. They're very helpful for everyone, staff as well as testers. Good job, man. All right, so we'll move on for Kim. What parts of the game do you think is in need of more focus testing?
Everything, we test everything, but as far as actual focus testing, we're probably focusing on a lot of what we would ask you to focus on. So if the focus is combat, it might be because there's a big pass coming through. So really that is more so dictated by Joppa's team and Kyle's team. So we are, we are here to make sure that we're testing everything that they're focusing on, and we go back and test other things, but the focus is whatever Joppa and Kyle hand down.
Yeah, good stuff. So also, what parts of the game do you feel strongly that they have been thoroughly tested and have minimal issues? Do you guys have any opinions on that?
I'll just answer it really quick and then I'll let Mark talk about it as well. I think we're in a really good, solid place. We do bug, we crush bugs as we're building the game, so we're not letting them build up. So I feel pretty confident. The builds have felt really good. Yeah, there's been some issues in the last couple of PAs with the with latency, but that's known and that's something that's in the pipeline to be fixed. So from my perspective, everything feels really good right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, similar. I mean, it changes per day. One day something will be great, and then if something gets adjusted, you got to test it again. So, I mean, until we launch, everything is going to need to be focus tested and thoroughly tested and retested over and over. So.
Yeah, very true. Your job's never done, mate. There's always going to be updates and patches and things coming, even after we launch. Keep you guys very busy. That's a cute picture of your cat too. Nikki looks quite striking looking out that window, staring at you, wondering why you're taking a photo of her.
Thanks, yeah.
I've got mine.
He's actually a boy. His name's Nicholas.
Oh, cool. I've got mine.
I think he was upset when he heard you call him a girl.
Sorry about that, Nikki. I've got mine asleep behind me on my bed snoring. He's I think a Manx cross, but he's like 11.5 kilos. He's a thumper, but he's the biggest sook. He's so affectionate. So I'm glad that he's snoring and not sitting next to me meowing. Otherwise, you guys would be in for. I think he'd be giving Nicky a run for his money. All right, so we'll move on. We've only got a couple more questions, but they're multiples, most of them, so we should keep us going for a good chunk of time. If we do hit the 1 hour mark, are you guys okay to go a little bit over, or are you stuck for time?
I'm pretty flexible tonight.
Good stuff.
Same here.
Awesome. Okay, so as internal testers, how far in advance of the PA VIP testers do you test similar issues? And are you talking about a few weeks, months? Are the PA testers a few weeks or months behind you?
So, yeah, we test PA stuff right before PA. We try to go through, a really good scrub of it, but as I've stated previously, we test the entire game constantly because, an MMO is a living, breathing world, and we're constantly adding new stuff and new systems as we're going through development. So everything gets tested constantly. But yeah, there's a big focus to try to get through everything that we're releasing for PA right beforehand, and sometimes several weeks ahead.
Yeah, cool. And I'll switch over to Mark. Overall, how are we doing providing feedback to you? So the PA testers. Is the overall quality what you'd hope for, or are we too verbose, too brief, just right? What can they do to kind of... This is touching on a question we've asked previously, but feedback-wise, how are they and what can they do to be better?
Yeah, let's let Mark handle this one.
I mean, all the feedback is valuable and really great to have. Conflicting reports are always good. Seeing a ton of feedback on the same topic is good. Seeing a lone issue that, maybe someone has a unique perspective for is great. Like, all of it is super, super valuable. I know, Tyler and everyone really love having all that feedback with the different perspectives. It provides a lot of information that's super helpful in development and balance and all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, nice. Do you have anything to add, Kim?
No, I think he covered it pretty well.
Good stuff. All right, so the next one moves on to, this is a bit of a guess, so I'm not sure how you're going to answer this, but in a lot of AAA games, I see dozens or even hundreds of QA testers being credited at the end of the game. So at release, how big do you think VR's QA department will be just before launch? A little bit of a guess, but I don't know if we can give away numbers now or what we think we'll need in the future or whatnot, but yeah, it's just whatever you think you can come up with.
3.
Done. Good answer, mate.
And by the way, congratulations, Kilsin. You're our next QA person.
Woohoo, I'm in.
I'm just kidding. I'm trying to recruit him, but he's got other stuff to do.
Oh, look, if I've got any downtime and you guys need help, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to jump in.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll definitely scale up as the need arises, but we're doing pretty good as is. We're a small team. We're, like I said, developers kind of test before they send it out to us anyways, so everyone does a really good job of pitching in. So I would say by launch we'll definitely be scaled up, but hundreds, I don't think we'll be at the hundreds mark.
I reckon we just stick with 3. Like, imagine that. Just at the end of the credits, all we have to do is put 3 names in huge, font, and those people are just going to stand out like nothing else as the 3 unsung heroes. Be you, Mark, and one other person. Done. Much better than all these hundreds of names, thousands of names that people just kind of scroll quickly through to get to the end.
Probably Nikki. I think he's in the running.
There you go. All right, so let's move on. Can you, as a QA tester, determine if a game's coding is good or bad? And if so, how does Pantheon's coding feel compared to other games you QA tested? So let's go with Kim. Keeping in mind, my last dev roundtable was with the coders, the programmers, so they may be listening.
So, just want to mention something in the comments here with DM Harm. Sorry to throw you under the bus here, but yeah, absolutely. You all are definitely a huge part of it. Having the testing that you all do is priceless. It's a huge help. So we are very, very blessed to have you all, and thank you very much for all that you all do. So, I should have mentioned y'all, but I felt the question was specifically...
Yeah, no, it's just for staff. Absolutely, VIP testers and that will be tagged and credited at the end, but this was just QA testers, like internal paid staff.
Right, yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't read that wrong.
No, but we do love our VIPs, 100%, and yeah, you guys are amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, we all get incredibly excited for PA time. It's not just you all. You all are not the only ones excited about PA. So.
Absolutely.
All right, I forgot the question. See, I got. What was the question now?
All right, so keeping in mind that I just had the programmers on, Kyle and Rob. Can you, as a QA tester, determine if a game's coding is good or bad? And if so, how does Pantheon's coding feel compared to other games you QA tested?
Wow.
So I'm asking if Kyle and Rob's code is bad, and how does it compare to other games? Is what they're asking.
I don't know that comes from being a QA tester, or just like having maybe a programming background, or just understanding how a computer works, how the video card works, and how a CPU works. But I think you can definitely tell if there's some problems in the coding. We've all been really excited about a game, and NVIDIA put out new drivers for it, and we loaded the drivers, and we were really ready, and then it just ran like crap. So, I mean, there's games like that. I'm not going to, point any out.
No.
Every developer is there. We're all under strict, timelines and everything. But yeah, I think in some ways anyone, even gamers who aren't specifically QA testers, can tell maybe something might be a little off. But again, just going back to what I said earlier, everything feels really, really stable and really solid. I'm very pleased with the way the game runs. So yeah, loving it.
That's it. So the correct answer to the second part about how Pantheon's coding feels compared to other games is amazing. Best feeling you could ever feel in the world. It's better than anything we've ever played. And you can quote me on that. Put that on the box. Ship it. All right. So, Mark, do you have anything to add to that about the feeling of a game, like coding?
Oh yeah, the coding that Pantheon has is just out of this world. It's amazing what these guys are doing and how organized they are and just how well they understand what they're programming. How I got into Vanguard and working with them with a bit of QA and testing and balance, I ended up being like the class lead for Monk, and then from there just all melee combat balance, was because some of the developers didn't even understand how their own abilities worked. So I explained how their abilities were working without seeing the code. And I mean, that game had a lot of issues, and I don't see much of that going on in Pantheon at all. The code is solid.
Yeah, nice, man. Oh, Vanguard. I recently just filled out a poll, I think, from, I don't know, PC Gamer or something, and it said, what was the MMO you'd want to bring back? And I wrote down Vanguard Saga of Heroes. I love that game, man. I put like 6 or 7 years into that from closed testing.
I love it.
Oh, it was so good. It had its bugs and charm, but man, yeah, it's a good game. If you can fix all those and bring it back into a modern day, I think that'd be a killer. So it's kind of across what Pantheon's going to be. Maybe that can be our next game. We'll get Pantheon out, get it kicking butt and doing fantastic, big numbers, and then we can look at adding a second game to our portfolio in the kind of theme of Vanguard or something. All right, so moving on. Can you talk a bit about your past QA experiences, whether they in gaming or other fields, and how you might compare your present work to work in the past? So let's stick with Mark.
Sure. So the generic, I did all the alphas and betas I could get my hands on way back when, and I ended up getting involved with Vanguard when I was playing a Drunken Monk, which just happened to be, one of the least played things in there. So that's what interested me about it, and somehow figured out how to hit for multiple millions of damage, and that kind of got me in the door there for working with the development and figuring out how to fix that. And it turned out they had an ability with multiple hits, and then that stance gave you 3 additional hits on those multiple hits, and then you had another ability that doubled all that. So you ended up applying multipliers from buffs and all that stuff 124 times before damage was registered. So you could just like one-shot stuff with these abilities. So yeah, just sort of testing on my own, playing the games, and then finding a game-breaking bug and getting in the door that way. That was where I started.
That's awesome, man. And if I remember correctly, Monks and Rogues had something very similar that popped up again a few years later. It was used widely.
Yeah.
Kim, do you have anything to add?
Well, I mean, I think I've said it before, but I've done regression testing before, not specifically on video games, but professionally. It's not something I do now, as far as like day job stuff. But I have very similar background as Mark. I've done a lot of testing on games during pre-alphas, alphas, betas. So I've been around the MMO scene a long time.
Yeah, nice. All right. So this is kind of doubling up. What is the funniest issue you have found, and have you made a gag reel sort of some of these issues to show off later time, or maybe just internally at a private launch party? That's a very good idea. I reckon we should. If we're not, we should be. I think we were talking about this in the team meeting a while ago, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I've been around a little while, and I do have a folder of funny pictures that I occasionally bring out and throw into chat for the team. So
Yeah,
whether or not they'll end up in some kind of gag reel for the community, I don't know, but it sounds like a good idea.
absolutely. Whether it's internal or public, it would yeah, I think it would be pretty cool.
I just like to say, and I think Ronick will probably get mad, but I think it's been long enough. I can say it's pretty funny when he dies on stream.
I don't think he gets mad. I think he's used to it now. He's a bit over it when he hears it. He just groans and rolls his eyes, but he knows he can't fight it. All right. So next question: where do you want to go from QA? Assume at some point you may want to try other areas in the gaming world, or might already be doing so. Either of you guys want to add to that?
I'm pretty solidly rooted into QA.
How about we give you a promotion? We're on our third game of our game portfolio, and you can become the director of quality assurance and have quality assurance managers under you and dream big, Kim.
I'm sure that could happen at some point, depending on how we scale up. So, but as far as am I planning on becoming a programmer anytime soon? No.
Yeah. How about you, Mark?
Honestly, the most fun I have in video games is honestly testing. It's something I really enjoy and have fun helping with. And after I got a taste of it with the Vanguard scene, I felt like a hole. Like just playing video games wasn't filling that void. So I was really happy to get on board with Pantheon and help with all the issues and have a little bit of say in balance and all that stuff. So I'm really happy being involved with QA. Obviously, if there's the area that I can help Pantheon progress, I'm always happy to jump in. But I think it would have to be in addition to testing. I love doing the testing.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Always good when you're passionate about something. It doesn't feel like work as much when you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so can you talk about the responsibility of testing between testing for bugs and function issues versus testing for what's fun? So many of the developers have talked about ideas are only good if they are fun. So how do you take a step back from personal feelings and think on a more mass appeal level when testing? That's a good question too. Let's go with we'll go with Kim for this one.
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can see you typing in chat. Having some fun with the VIPs.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries at all. So can you talk about the responsibility of testing between testing for bugs and function issues versus testing for what is fun? So many of the devs have talked about, it's the ideas are only good if they are fun. So how do you take a step back and separate them?
Right. So to me, those are two pretty distinct setups. So when Mark mentioned, we have different types of testing. So when we are very focused on something, we are, that's what we're focused on. We're maybe focused on the technical aspect of it, and we're really not looking for fun factor. But everything is going to get a pass on both. So, if we have a new, let's say there's a new ability to test, we're definitely going to test it every which way, try to break it, make sure it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and then we will definitely incorporate it into a play session where we're just playing for fun to, see how it works. Does it make the game too trivial? Does it make it too hard? Does it take too much mana? So, yeah, it's definitely separate, I think. We try to separate, sessions out into very specific goals, but I would say more so when we are testing for fun, we end up finding bugs too. So
Yeah, awesome. And I notice you guys switch people in and out a lot too, so there's different perspectives, opinions, staff and QA testers and all that.
Yeah, we also swap out classes too. So, if I'm typically being the Dire Lord lately, I might jump on and do the rogue, and be the puller, and then everyone's like, yeah, here we go, Kim's pulling.
Liven things up a bit, get people working hard.
Yeah, get ready for like 4 mobs. I've gotten pretty decent at it.
Nice. All right, so last 3 questions. Do you find yourself working mostly with the programming team or the design team? We'll go with Mark.
I would say probably a little bit more with the design team for obviously the balance issues, and then the programming team when it's a hard bug. So it's pretty equal, honestly. We work as the whole team. So yeah, everyone's involved with everyone a bit.
Yeah, nice. You'd agree with that, Kim?
Yeah.
All right, so what kind of tools do you use to communicate, report, and follow up on issues? We'll go with Kim.
Yeah, so we use chat systems where Mark had kind of touched upon that earlier, where if we have something really game breaking, we're definitely getting on the horn, telling them about it. And then, but for the most part, we have a ticket system that we use. So it is connected with the in-game bug reporter. So if we're in-game, we're submitting bugs via the in-game reporter, and then there's a kind of like a back office aspect to it because we're going into that tool and we're assigning it. We can add videos to the tool or to the tickets. So that's kind of the process. And then what would happen is if it's within scope, if the bug is within scope to be fixed, for instance, if I were to say, hey, Kyle, we're getting a lot of latency. Well, we've kind of talked about networking being rewritten soon. So that's not something that Kyle would really want to spend time on because it doesn't make a lot of sense when that's going to be, developed heavily soon. So it's just Mark and I kind of getting a feel for what's coming down the pipeline, and we prioritize them by giving them, is this a high priority, medium, low? So we'll kind of prioritize things, and if it's very high, we let them know. So this kind of thing. And then once they do fix the bug, it gets sent back to us to QA again. And so if it passes, we close the ticket, and it's the full life cycle of the ticket. And if it isn't, it gets sent back to programming or design, whoever it needs to go to.
Yeah, awesome. I would go to Mark, but that pretty much kind of covers both of you guys, unless you have something to add, Mark.
No, that's it.
All right, so last question before we go to some live ones that are starting to come through. What would you describe as a perfect bug report? I know we touched on this earlier, but if you could get someone to fill out the perfect bug report right now on an issue for you, what would you want included in that report?
I was going to see if I could pull up a ticket and see if I could, kind of go through one. Let me see if I can find one.
Yeah, cool. While Kim's doing that,
for me, it would just be something with reproduction steps, maybe a nice screenshot mixed in there, good title to let us know what realm is going on, and using the drop down menus to let us know what category and all that. So just filled out and with reproduction steps.
Yeah, nice. Good detail, nice and clear, not too much spam, and laid details out in order of it happening. Nice screenshot, location, done.
No sticky people.
Yeah. Is it enough for you to read it and go into it and go, I know exactly what they're talking about. Okay, here it is. And then that's off to you. All right. I love some of these questions popping up, and I get asked by none other than Ben Dean what my forum password is.
So I can come back to the ticket question if you all want me to.
No, you can grab it if you want. This is the last one, and then we're going to go to some of these live ones that are starting to come through now.
Right, so I'm not going to give specifics, but I'm just looking at this ticket here, and what we've done is we have given it a tag, and we've just given it a written tag. We do use tags within the system, but we've tagged it right away as quest. So whoever's assigned it can look and say, okay, yeah, I definitely want to work on quests today, so they can very easily grab those. And then we have a list of repro steps numbered. So number 1, create and log on a shaman. So we're actually telling them what class to log into, zone to throne fast. And then we're telling them where the location is for every part of the quest. So we're giving them the coordinates to every location. And then we go into pretty good detail. This one says allow her to path away naturally or close the quest window yourself, attempt to speak to her again, and then observe that she does not offer you the quest again. So this was a problem when you're abandoning a quest and then you're trying to pick the quest back up again. For you all, again, just keep, like I said earlier, keep in mind that when you submit the bug, wherever you are when you submitted the bug, is going to come through on the bug. So use that to your advantage and to our advantage. So that's really awesome information for us. So if you're reporting sticky people, make sure you're at the location of sticky people, and then we can go right to them.
Yeah, nice. All right, so let's go into some of these questions. We've got a few pop up. So first one is for me. What MMORPG did you play most as a fan? I'd have to say old school Vanguard for sure. That was like 7 years of closed beta testing all the way through to I was there when the service was shut down and sunsetted. For new school, probably right now, like Elder Scrolls Online, I've been playing for years on and off since it released. There's something about that game that keeps me coming back, and it's more about, I think, just playing solo than anything else, or doing the odd thing with a few guildies. I don't really raid or do trials and stuff, but yeah, they were the two. Kim and Mark, how is Kim and Mark liking the testing going into the barbarians currently?
I think I know who asked this question.
We've got Ben that asked what my password is. Oh God. Can knowing what to expect in game make it more difficult to find bugs? That's a good one. What about you, Kim?
No, it doesn't. Was the question knowing what's in game, does it make it harder to find bugs?
Yeah, like knowing what to expect in a game, does it make it more difficult to find bugs? So if you do the same quest over and over and over again and you know what to expect, does that sometimes make you tunnel vision, or does it make it harder? Does it make it...
No. So once upon a time when I was in college and I was writing papers, and I would read my papers over and over again to proofread them, someone told me, if you read them too much, start reading them backwards, and you'll catch more. So again, that just goes back to looking at things from different perspectives constantly.
Yeah, nice. That's a good tip. And what about you, Mark?
The scope definitely helps us focus on the issues at hand. So I don't know, mostly the opposite of it. It makes it a little bit more easy, knowing what we're supposed to expect. And then if it deviates from that path, it's easier to detect that way. rather than going in somewhat blind and, is this supposed to work like this? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that's it, man. I agree. That's exactly the same with my testing as well. Like if something changes in that kind of monotonous grind, then it's exciting. Something's different. It's like, wait, something happened here that doesn't normally happen, and that's when I find it easy to focus on. But yeah. All right. So, and for both of you, staying with Mark, what games do you enjoy playing on your downtime currently?
So as a long-time EverQuest player, kept going back to that. Played a good bit of Final Fantasy. Played, WoW back in the day, and I think I'm going to be checking out Swords of Legend Online pretty soon. That's going to come out next month, so I'll be playing a bit of that.
Nice. What about you, Kim?
I don't have a lot of time to play games, but some of the games I've played lately are Diablo 3. I go back pretty much every season. And what's the other one? Oh, Dark Alliance. Started playing that the other night.
Yeah, nice. How is that? I've got that on my wish list.
It's fun for what it is, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
The turning in game feels a little clunky compared to what I'm used to, but it's just something you have to get used to.
Yeah, sweet. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm not going to pull the trigger just yet. The reviews are a little bit mixed too, but all right. So next question: with all the overlap of class structure, how are you aiming to give each class their own structure? I think that's more of a programmer question, but you guys would have feedback on that with how they feel and play. So do you guys have anything to add? We'll go with Mark.
Can you just repeat the question part of that again? I think I got it, but I want to make sure I got it.
Yeah, sure, man. With all the overlap of class structure, excuse me, how are you aiming to give each class their own structure?
I think what made EverQuest so great and what draws me particularly to MMOs is just that unique class identity. I never really liked the total sandbox games where you don't really have classes and everyone can sort of do whatever they want. So the identity is really important to me, and I try and always use the lens of what the designer, what the developer was looking to accomplish with it rather than my personal feelings on it. So I'll have my personal feelings and then I'll separate that and then is this what the designer wanted? And then kind of communicate both of those in different ways,
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Kim?
So this was the question about each class having their own identity?
Yeah, own structure. Similar.
Right. Well, I don't really want to speak for design because this is very much their realm. But, I think that we're definitely going for that kind of interdependence between classes and that there should be some unique features to every class. And, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but again, I'm not design, so I'm with Mark. If Java comes to us and says, kind of this is the intent here, we look and see if it meets that intent, and then we're also looking for emergent play because we like emergent play, in some regards. So
yeah, perfect.
At least I do.
Yeah, nice, good answer. We'll stick with you, Kim. Can you tell us anything about what kind of automated testing you guys do?
So we've done some automated testing with, some bot stuff.
Yeah, Kyle spoke about his bots last roundtable as well.
Right. Yeah. That's typically something programming works on. So, we might come to them with an idea that they could program, but we have to consider scope and time as well because they have specific projects they're working on. So it's definitely something we try to scope out. What QA needs are, but yeah, there's some automatic stuff.
Yeah, cool. You haven't Kyle hasn't filled a group with bots for you to run around with or anything?
Not yet. I keep on asking for a group of cats, but
Nice. All right. So, has working from home and having the team on different times been much of a challenge, or do you both just make it all work? We'll start with Mark.
Luckily, Kim and I are both in the same time zone, so for us, it hasn't really been an obstacle at all. I mean, occasionally we'll have to wait a little bit from a response from a certain person, but typically, not a huge issue at all in this day and age.
Yeah, nice. Is that the same for you, Kim?
yeah, I mean, we're all pretty much on. We all have a lot of overlap, so I work a lot in the evenings, so I'm really around when people on the West Coast and people in Australia are on. So yeah, it works out really good.
Yeah, sweet. I think a lot of the team are obviously working remotely, or all of the team. But yeah, different time zones. We make it work somehow. I don't know. People work early, work late, work middle of the day. There's crossovers, there's handovers, there's messages for when you wake up. There's just we somehow make it work. It's just sometimes you need to wait a little bit. Unless it's an emergency, then we have ways of contacting people immediately. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I think we've done a pretty bloody good job. It's been many years of this, and we've kind of got it down pat, where it just works for us. So it's really good to be a part of. So, how close do you guys work with the world builders, and more specifically the dungeon designers? So in a testing sense, so terrain and pathing and all that kind of stuff, immersion. We'll go with Mark.
Pretty standard, same thing as everything else. The world builder says, this is ready to test. So, we go over every little nook and cranny and try and fall through it, try and break it, try and drag mobs across it, see what happens. Yeah, no real difference between that and the other elements.
Yeah, cool. Do you have anything to add, Kim?
No, not really. I mean, we give a lot of feedback too, just based on aesthetics and stuff. But there's also kind of a pipeline with that too, because we don't want to spend too much time while we're in, when certain zones are in gray box. We don't want to really spend time on, hey, does this mob get stuck on this gray box rock? So there's definitely a time and place for all that.
Yeah, cool. So when testing encounters, how often do you have to bug Sacred? Do you just suggest ideas as to what would make the encounter better, or do you just relay the information to Sacred? We'll go with Kim.
Can you just read the last part again?
Do you suggest ideas as to what would make the encounter better, or do you just relay the information to Sacred? Tyler.
Oh, yeah, all the time. But, maybe he sometimes puts me on mute. I don't know.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, again, it all comes down to scope. So usually he'll give us a good idea of what elements he's looking to evaluate and all that. So usually he's really good about giving us that target that we're aiming for regarding any of that stuff.
Yeah, nice. I wonder how many other people he puts on mute. All right, so when someone reports a bug, how often does it spark a series of, if it happens here, this mechanic might occur X places? We'll stay with Mark.
All the time. We stumble on something, and even if it's like a byproduct of a ticket that we get, so like with inventory issues, it'll spark something in our head, and we'll be like, oh, maybe we should go check this too. And yeah, we've definitely come out through a lot of the bugs that way, is just by the 6 degree of separations or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's it. Nice, kid. Do you have anything to add, Kim?
No, I think that was a pretty good answer.
So, have there been utilities built specifically specific to QA to help with testing? And if so, what purpose do they serve and how do they help? I think they mean utilities like tools.
Oh, yeah. like I said, we have a wish list of things that maybe programming might be working on for us. I think of new commands all the time, like, hey, if I wanted to do this, can you make a command for that? And it's usually something that's pretty simple that Kyle can throw in quickly if he has the time. And we have analytic tools and all kinds of stuff that really help us out.
Yeah, nice. And for Mark, has Mark found any fun monk bugs like he did in Vanguard?
Nothing to that scope yet, but we'll see what you guys can come up with.
Yeah, nice. Good answer. So, Minus wants to know who tested the power of the Mahjong and the pyramid head spiders. Either of you want to own up to that?
What was the first one?
The Mahjong, Majong, Mahjong, and the pyramid head spiders.
I think it's just safe to blame Tyler in all these situations.
Yeah, why not? Throw some shade back after the muting. So we'll say sacred. Alright, so last question. Coding or design, which team elicits the greatest amount of eye rolling? Good question. Let's go with Kim.
That's a funny question.
That's a dangerous question.
I like to think they all love our feedback.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what kind of wild idea I've come up with this week or that day. I'm sure they have all rolled their eyes at me, but they're all really supportive. So and we all have a common goal, so we work really well together, and we have fun doing it too. So
yeah, that's awesome. Alright, that's it, guys. We've come to an end, a little bit past our 1 hour mark, but I just want to say a huge thank you to Kim and Mark for taking the time to come and talk to me and the VIPs. I really appreciate it, so thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Awesome, and thank you very much to all the VIPs that came out to listen in and participate. We love doing this for you guys. It wouldn't be worthwhile if we didn't get such a big turnout. It's amazing. You guys are fantastic. We want to say thank you to everybody. We will do the same as usual with this. I'll upload this straight away, probably within the hour, to VIPs and champions, and then a week from today we'll release it to the public and then talk about it openly. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you at the end of the next month. Bye, guys.